He was sent east in a now infamous trade.
He's like, hey, we just got traded. And I was like, yeah, right.
Helped end an 86-year curse.
We ended up doing it. We ended up shocking the world.
And became the captain of a team and a nation.
I know it meant a lot to him to be able to proudly wear that C.
Jason Varitek's baseball career continues in Boston on the second half of this special two-part edition of the Red Sox Report, presented by CVS Pharmacy. The 1997 Boston Red Sox won just 78 games. But in a move the organization made off the field July 31st, the fate of Red Sox Nation changed forever. Catcher Jason Varitek and pitcher Derek Lowe were teammates with Seattle's AAA affiliate in Tacoma at the time.
So we play our game that night, Colorado Springs, and we come in and Derek comes bebopping through the locker room. He's like, hey, we just got traded. And I was like, yeah, right, you know, go ahead. And, no, seriously, we just got traded. And I was like, yeah, right, go ahead, you know, whatever. And then my manager waves me in, and I was like, uh-oh, what just happened? And he's like, yeah, you and Derek got traded.
Heathcliff Slocum was the losing pitcher in that game, and right after the game, just minutes before the trading deadline, the Red Sox sent Slocum to Seattle in exchange for two fine prospects, catcher Jason Varitek and pitcher Derek Lowe. Varitek, a former first-round draft choice, hit 15 home runs at AAA Tacoma this year.
We get to Pawtucket, and Dan Duquette, who was the general manager at the time, thought I was left-handed. And Jason Varitek, when he sees him, goes, wow, you're a lot fitter than I thought you were. So they thought they were getting a fat catcher and a left-handed pitcher in the deal.
Once the Red Sox realized what they really had, Jason's big league promotion to Boston soon followed.
Well, I really struggled when I came over. I was doing well, having a pretty good year over in Tacoma. Things had just started, like, boom, I started driving the ball. Power numbers in 2 months went up pretty good. And, you know, really some things starting to do well. Got there and flat struggled. Like, it took me like probably 30, I think it took me like 30 at bats before I got a hit. And then to get to that point, and then all of a sudden to, you know, have them call and be like, okay, you're getting called up, was like, you know, I felt very fortunate more than anything. And, you know, fortunate and excited and scared to death all together.
Jason joined the big club on September 9th, but didn't make his debut for another 2 weeks.
We were in Detroit, and, you know, I'd grown up in the Detroit area and have a bunch of family and relatives and people there, and they're like, all right, you're hitting, you're on deck. I come flying down, like, I don't even barely get a chance to get a helmet and get a bat, and next thing you know, like, I don't even remember if I even got to take a practice swing. And next thing you know, I'm hitting. And somehow I hit the ball the other way in the hole for a base hit the other way, and have a hit in my first at bat.
Jason split backstop duties in 1998, his first full major league season, with Scott Hatteberg. But an injury to Hatteberg early in 1999 opened the everyday door for Jason.
You know, ultimately, I think it was huge for me to have a manager in Jimmy Williams that actually believed in me as a player. Never forget it, sitting there, you know, had no chance to play. We're in Yankee Stadium, and, you know, I'm out there, just sitting out there early before the game started, and he just comes over to me and he's just like, he goes, you're a ball player. And that was the biggest compliment and biggest boost to me in my career, was having Jimmy say, you're a baseball player and you're going to be a baseball player.
It didn't take long for Jason to transform from a young catcher to a clubhouse leader.
Yeah, I mean, it started from day one when he got here. You know, he's not overly opinionated, but he leads by example.
Jason and the Red Sox reached the postseason for the second consecutive season in 1999, but quickly fell into a 2-0 hole against Cleveland.
Never forget, because I think it's kind of stapled, it developed a tradition in our clubhouses and those things thereafter, was that Jimmy walked in and he goes, guys, don't let them let us win a game. And we started that then, to turn our focus back towards the little things of playing pitch to pitch, worrying about not that we're down 2-0. Just don't let them, well, watch out. They let us win a game. This team's good. And watch out what happens if we win a game.
The Sox rallied to defeat the Indians in 5 games, but then fell to the Yankees in the American League Championship Series. They didn't make the playoffs again until 2003. The 2000 season was a forgettable one for Jason Varitek and the Red Sox, but the 2001 campaign began in memorable fashion with Jason behind the plate.
Left in the air to left, O'Leary coming on, and Hideo Nomo is no-hit the Baltimore Orioles.
Jason's bat was off to a hot start in 2001 too, but a freak injury on June 7th put his career in jeopardy.
Shane Halter pops one up in the air. Varitek dives. What a catch!
Completely outstretched right to the batter's circle, on deck circle. It looked like he hurt himself too, and he did.
And the thing that would have to concern you, Jerry, if he leaves, you know he's hurt.
Thought I was done. Like, they didn't think the bone was growing back. If that ends up stays displaced in my elbow, that's not a good thing for when you have to throw. And didn't look like it was healing. I had nerve damage. All of a sudden the nerve regenerated enough and things kind of took a little bit of different turn, but that didn't happen but for like 4 months later, 3.5 months later. And I was scared. I was like, I thought I played my last game.
Healthy to begin 2002, Jason had a new manager, Grady Little, but was still teammates with Derek Lowe.
Bounced right to Sanchez. On the first, a no-hitter for Derek Lowe.
Lowe didn't shake Jason off once that afternoon. In fact, he rarely shook Jason off at all.
You were a robot. I didn't have any pitch thoughts in my mind. Just whatever he put down, I threw out and second guess it. Because I knew he put more time in it than I did, you know, and he's seen what I'm throwing up there. Why not trust him? And the success he's had speaks for itself.
The Sox revamped their roster with the additions of David Ortiz, Bill Miller, Kevin Millar, and others in 2003. The lineup helped Jason set career highs with 25 homers and 85 runs batted in during the first of his 3 All-Star campaigns.
I finally got to a point where I stopped tinkering with everything I was doing and stuck with something, and I was pretty successful. We had a real good lineup. I hit 9th. I mean, I hit 20-some home runs, hit 9th. I mean, we had a pretty good lineup.
Nods yes to the sign, comes to the belt, the pitch to Roberts. Strike 3 called! The Boston Red Sox are going to postseason play.
The Red Sox won the American League wild card in 2003, and just like 1999, they landed on the brink of elimination in the division series.
If we lose one more game, we're done. You know, it wasn't like that. You know, we just worried about the game that we were playing, and guys like Jason had a great knack of reminding us, hey, let's just worry about the first half inning that we got to go out and play defense. And then in the second half of that inning, let's just worry about getting on base and then have some timely hitting and score some runs.
For the second time in 5 years, the Sox erased a 2-0 deficit and won Game 5 on the road.
Strike 3 call, the Red Sox win it! Bring on the Yankees, the Red Sox have hung on!
The Red Sox met the Yankees in the League Championship Series and led late in Game 7 at Yankee Stadium.
Into center field, Damon will play it on a hop. Jeter will come to the plate. It's a 2-run game.
Jason was on the mound when Grady Little stuck with Pedro Martinez.
I never thought twice about Pedro finishing that inning. And, you know, Grady seems to get the heat for it.
A flare into center field. Out as Walker won't get it. The base running of Matsui. He comes home. Nobody covers second. Tie game.
Well, you look at it too, there's 3 broken bat hits in the same inning that ends up tying the game. So what can you really do?
Vaughn hits it to deep left. That might send the Yankees to the World Series. Boom, a hero in Game 7.
The loss was the most crushing in Red Sox history, but Jason stood by his teammates and friends.
You know, he was one of the first guys to come up to me and you know, put his hand on my shoulder and say, hey man, you know, if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be in this Game 7 and it's not your fault. And
a year later, the Red Sox were back in Yankee Stadium for another Game 7.
We ended up doing it. We ended up shocking the world.
Agony turns to ecstasy for Jason when the Red Sox report presented by CVS Pharmacy continues. The 2003 Red Sox season ended in heartbreak. That off-season, the club sought another arm for its rotation, and Jason Varitek's presence helped lure Curt Schilling to Boston.
To me, Jason is kind of the best of both worlds. He's physically, obviously gifted, but he has a real, seems like an emotional stake in the game, in the fingers he puts down.
With Schilling, Pedro Martinez, Tim Wakefield, and Derek Lowe, the Sox were primed to make a run at the Yankees. But after a July 23rd loss, the Sox dropped 9.5 games out of first.
Well, more of the same for the Red Sox and the Yankees in this 2004 season. Red Sox with some loud noises, but just could not find a way to get some key hits when they needed them.
Rain fell on Fenway the next day, a Saturday afternoon. Officials wanted to postpone the game, but those in the home clubhouse wanted to play.
I think there was a sense of urgency that, you know, we need to take advantage of the situation of their bullpen. You know, we're in a pennant race with them. You know, yeah, it's July, but it's still, you know, every bit matters. We're like, we need to play this game. And it wasn't one person, it was pretty much the entire team.
The game began, and the Sox fell into an early hole with Bronson Arroyo on the mound.
Alex Rodriguez is drilled, and he says something to Bronson Arroyo.
I understand a level of where Bronson was in his development. It was a pitch that he was trying to learn how to have to make. And you know, he had a few too many choice words to say to Bronson, and I had a few choice words to tell him to get to first base. And he had a few choice words to say to me. That after the second or third one, things transpired from there.
Here we go. Varitek and A-Rod going at it.
You know, it kind of surprised me, you know, because I know that Tech is a trooper, and you know, he preferred to resolve things via communication than aggressiveness, you know, but you know, you got to do what you got to do.
Despite the fight, the Sox trailed 10-8 in the ninth against the greatest closer of all time.
Driven in the air to deep right field. Back is Sheffield. The Red Sox win it.
The Red Sox won that day and the next, but they didn't catch the Yankees in the standings. New York won the East, the Sox were the wild card. Each won the division series round to meet again in the ALCS. The Sox fell into another hole, this time 3-0. But Jason remembered 1999. Newer teammates remembered 2003, and the entire team remembered July 24th.
Big turning point for our team, and you know, obviously it helped when we were down 3-0 to the Yankees. I mean, not being afraid to fail, always pushing to succeed, to win at all costs.
I think Jason is a lead by example guy. You know, I'm not in their clubhouse, so I can't tell you how vocal he is, but he goes out there and he's there every single day, whether he's feeling 100% or not.
Ground ball on the infield. And in the American League, Boston is second to none. The Red Sox have done it. They've pulled off the miracle.
He certainly has been the glue for me to watch this club from the other side. Whether it's done with his bat, he's gotten some big hits for these guys, but I think more than anything, it looks like he's held that club together with the different characters they've had over there. Jason Varitek was the guy that was sort of the voice of reason and, you know, sort of solidified it. That's what it looked like from this dugout. You know, they say the year that he and Alex went at it and home plate, that motivated them to win. But I don't buy it. I'd like to believe that these guys had motivation before that, because you don't put on a Major League uniform, much less a Yankee or a Red Sox uniform, without being motivated to play the game.
The Red Sox then steamrolled St. Louis to end the curse.
Once you made that last out and that ball actually made it to the first baseman that, you know, that folk flipped over there, I was like utter exhaustion. You know, I was so just exhausted. I remember just sitting in the clubhouse. I couldn't dance. I couldn't get up. Like, I remember I just wanted to sit. I was just so, just physically and emotionally just done because it was so exhausting. Yeah, it was a whirlwind, but it was so much focus towards the littlest of details with, you know, our game plans and those things that we couldn't take a pitch off. And then finally when it was over, your body's sore, everything just kicks in that, you know, your body produced so much adrenaline for so long that finally, it was just relief. It was such a relief to finally win.
We ended up doing it. We ended up shocking the world. And, you know, that's the type of leader that you always want to have, a guy like Jason Varitek.
After the World Series, Jason's leadership role was made official.
Well, obviously it meant a lot to me to be able to share that with him.
The C is sewn into Jason's jersey as the Red Sox report presented by CVS Pharmacy continues. Jason Varitek became a free agent after the 2004 World Series, but he gave the Red Sox exclusive negotiating rights, and the two sides struck a deal on Christmas Eve. Jason's teammate and friend joined him at the press conference.
It meant a lot to me to be able to share that with him, I know, obviously, but I think more importantly, I think it solidified his role on this team as the captain of the Red Sox, and just to be able to finally put a C on the uniform meant a lot. I know it meant a lot to him to be able to proudly wear that C and take the responsibility that comes with it.
The Sox were bounced from the playoffs by Chicago in 2005, and they missed a spot in 2006. But in mid-July that year, Jason caught his club record 991st game. The expectations were high to start 2007, and the team lived up to them.
Game over, series over, and the Red Sox are world champs again.
I think that year was so much harder because there was the mix of youth and development and communicating and lowering the blood pressure, raising the intensity, and everything in so many different facets, you know, allowing people to develop and become themselves, to having new people, a new dynamic like Jacoby added late in the year. We had a lot of pitching development going on. And so for me on that end, it was way harder. Like, you know, from spring training to get to that point and to hold things together was way harder than it was, you know, in '04. It was much more exhausting. I was much more emotionally spent in '07.
Jason made history again in 2008 when he caught a Major League record 4th no-hitter.
Glasgow strikes out. John Lester's thrown a no-hitter at Fenway. He no-hits the Kansas City Royals.
But as his career wound down, there were few calls that were tougher to make than his last.
I'm here to officially announce that I'm retiring as a player.
Jason Varitek retires gracefully from the game he loves when the Red Sox Report, presented by CVS Pharmacy, returns. Jason Varitek played in the Little League World Series, the College World Series, and Major League Baseball's World Series. He represented the Red Sox at the All-Star Game and the United States at the Olympic Games. He earned the respect of his family, coaches, teammates, and opponents. He was behind the plate for 4 no-hitters and caught more games than any player in Red Sox history. He called thousands of pitches for dozens of hurlers, but his toughest decision came in March 2012.
I just want to start off by thank everybody for being here. I'd hoped to single out and be able to say thank you individually to each one of my teammates, but it kind of looks like there's a little bit more than I expected. And but guys, yeah, I have no idea what this means. Going into this, your last week, this last week leading up to this is probably one of the hardest weeks that you go through as a player. And I'm here to officially announce that I'm retiring as a player. And after months of deliberating what to do, I decided that it's best for me and my family that I retire, but I retire a Red Sox. My decision to retire wasn't something that I took lightly in any sense of the word, nor did I want to do it more than once. This has probably been the most difficult decision I've had to make in my career. But the opportunity to start and finish my Major League career in one place meant more to me, is why I'm standing here today. Being a part of this Red Sox organization the past 14 years is something I'll truly cherish, and I do truly cherish. And I thank all of you for giving me this opportunity. Now gets the hard part. Allie, Kendall, Caroline, you made going home from games when things weren't so well that much easier. Just always know Daddy loves you as far as the East is from the West. As I walk away from this game, I can look at the man in the mirror and be proud that I gave everything I could to this game, this organization, my teammates. And once again, I just want to say thank you.
Jason Varitek no longer wears a baseball uniform, but like the C on the chest of that uniform, his career will forever be stitched into the storied history of the only Major League team he ever played for, the Boston Red Sox.